Hi everyone, my name is Jessy Ardern. I am an actor, I am a playwright, and like most of you, I am stuck in the house. I'm sure most of you watching this are theater goers and you might be missing your summer Shakespeare. So today I thought I'd bring a little Shakespeare back into your lives by taking a look at Pericles, Prince of Tyre. The Shakespeare play most likely to make you say, "What?" So we start with our hero Pericles. Just a cool guy, he's wandering around when he ends up in the kingdom of Antioch. The king, Antiochus, is holding a contest. You can win the hand of his daughter if you answer a riddle correctly. But if you answer wrong, you die. Sounds fun! Pericles reads the riddle. It's long, so I won't say the whole thing, but the gist of it is, see the king and his daughter over there? One of them is her father and her lover. The other one is his daughter and his lover. What is this relationship? And the answer is incest, obviously. It's not even really a riddle. It's just like a series of guideposts on the road to obvious land. Anyway, so Pericles has figured out the riddle, but now he's in a bit of a pickle. Because if he says to the king, I've solved the riddle, you're having an incestuous relationship, he's gonna die. But if he says, I can't answer this riddle, he's gonna die. So Pericles, stuck in an impossible situation with only his wits to guide him, just books it out of there. And then King Antiochus thinks to himself, I think Pericles has figured out my dark secret, which I wrote out to him very obviously and then handed to him on a piece of paper. There's only one thing to do. I will hire an assassin to kill Pericles. So Pericles knows that there's someone after him, so now he just goes sailing around the world, having a great time, until he ends up in a storm. Pericles gets shipwrecked on another distant land where there is another king holding another contest over the hand of his daughter. And Pericles is all like, this again? But this time it's a jousting contest. So Pericles picks up a lance and he just starts beating the crap out of everyone. And he wins the contest. And that means he gets to marry the princess. And when Pericles and the princess meet, they fall in love. She's all like, bleh, and he's all like, bleh, and she's all like, bleh, and he's all like, bleh. And that's how you know it's love. They get married. She immediately gets super pregnant. And then a messenger shows up. And the messenger's all, great news. Remember that king from Act 1? The gods lit he and his daughter on fire and they burned to death. So now the assassin is out of a job. No one is after you, Pericles. You can just go home. And Pericles is like, it's almost as though Act 1 has no bearing on the rest of the plot. And so Pericles and his wife set sail, going back to his home country of Tyre. But on the way, they hit another thunderstorm. And we all know nothing induces labor like a thunderstorm. So the princess gives birth right there on the boat. But unfortunately, it doesn't seem like she's breathing. So they put her in a box and they say a quick prayer for her departed soul and they chuck her overboard. You know, there's a lot of reasons to love Shakespeare, but I think one of the biggest reasons is that he teaches us so much, such as if you think someone's dead and you're about to bury them at sea, maybe double check. The princess's box washes up on a beach and she pops out all like, What happened? Where's my husband? Where's my child? Is everyone dead? Is everyone dead? Quick reminder, letters exist at this point, so she could have written one and found out, but instead she's like, nah, everyone's for sure dead. I'm going off to be a nun. Meanwhile, Pericles is still on the boat, all like, I'm too sad to look after this baby. So he rolls up to a neighboring kingdom and he's all like, please look after this baby. Then he goes home and Bruce Wayne style, he's all like, I will be sad forever. It's 15 years later and the baby has grown up into a beautiful young woman named Marina. But Marina's adopted mother is all, she's too pretty. No one is looking at our daughter. And Marina's adopted father is all like, yeah, let's kill her. And so they hire someone to kill Marina. Coincidentally, and right in the nick of time, a pirate shows up and he kidnaps Marina and he sells her to a brothel in Mytilene. With another ingenue, we might be worried about Marina being sold to a brothel, but the fact is she is so incredible, so kind and generous and smart and brilliant and ethereal that every man who shows up at the brothel takes one look at her and immediately thinks, I want to be a better man. And then they go join the Peace Corps or something. Meanwhile, Marina's adoptive parents assume she's dead, so they send a letter to Tyre, where Pericles is busy being the saddest boy on the playground. When the messenger arrives with a letter telling Pericles that his daughter, who he'd never ever bothered to see or visit, is dead, Pericles declares that he is so sad he will sail around the world forever and never cut his hair. So Pericles sets sail on his worldwide tour of loneliness. And where does he happen to stop by? But Mytilene. The governor comes down to meet him and says, Pericles, you look sad. I know what'll make you feel better. I've heard of an amazing woman who makes all men feel better about themselves. So the governor calls Marina, she comes on down, and she and Pericles start to chat. And then they start to compare backgrounds. And then it occurs to them, they're related to each other. Hooray! The whole gang wants to thank the gods. But when they show up at the temple, guess who's running the joint? That's right, it's Pericles' wife and Marina's mom. The whole family is reunited, and Marina marries the governor because, of course, she has to marry someone. The end. And that was Pericles, Prince of Tyre, co-written by William Shakespeare and a pub owner named George Wilkins. I hope you enjoyed. Have a great quarantine, everybody. Bye.